All right, hello everybody, and today we're going to be talking about drum height and posture, two of the most important things before you ever start playing the snare drum that enables you to do it successfully. Okay, so the first thing I'll talk to you about is the drum height, and I would always encourage you to make sure that you bring the instrument to you. And so any instrument, a percussion instrument, a wind instrument, or string instrument, they all have that one thing in common, that you want to bring the instrument to you and not you contort your body to fit the instrument. And so for instance, one trick that I use when I'm teaching timpani to students is that I have them stand behind the 4 drums if it's a 4-drum piece, or 3 drums if it's a 3-drum piece, and I have them center right there and move their arms around to make sure that their arms will naturally take them to the correct playing spots on the drum. Same thing with a drum set. You don't want to have a ride cymbal way over here that you have to reach for, and then a floor tom back here. You want to make sure it's very, very natural. And so a snare drum applies the same concept. Okay? So, as far as how you would set the drum up, you always want to make sure everything looks super professional. This is your first impression as a performer, or if you're playing with a snare line in a drum corps or a college or your high school or whatever, you want to make sure that you have a really good first impression, that all the stands look exactly the same, the drums are at the very least a similar height. Doesn't necessarily have to be a tabletop across all the drums, as you have some different body sizes and all that, but you want to make sure it looks very professional. And so always make sure the legs are a good width, the bass is sturdy, yet not too wide, and the drum should be at a point where your arms are in the correct position for you to be able to play. And so, as you'll notice, my arms have a very slight decline to them. That's the most natural position for your wrists to work as efficiently as possible. If the drum is up too high, then your arms get fatigued, you get sore shoulders and that kind of thing, and it's not very efficient. And if it's too low, like you see some taller guys in snare lines that have the drums way low because they try to match the drum height, if the drum is too low, you struggle to turn your wrist. Because as you'll notice, your wrist has a very natural, about a 45-degree natural turn to it. And so that never changes regardless of where your arm is. And so you want to set yourself up to play as efficiently as possible. Now, as far as the posture side of things is concerned, you always want to make sure that you understand that this is a marching and a playing activity. And so however you stand behind the drum, you have to present yourself as if you were going to put the drum on and march too. It's real easy whenever a student gets on a stand to kind of stand lazy, to have incorrect posture, but you want to make sure you're setting yourself up for success in the marching side of things. So I always try to stand up as tall as possible, and that's the word I use with my students a lot, is tall. Not intense or forceful, just tall. And so on the toes, just slightly, just like you're about ready to take a step off. You want to have a straight line. I'm going to turn to the side here so that you can see. You want a straight line from your ankles to your hips to your shoulders. It's a real common thing to have your hips kind of pointed forward and to be sitting on your hips. You want to make sure that you pull those back and keep your shoulders back as well without being tense. And so those are a couple of the basics that I'd recommend as far as posture and drum height.